Once again, a request to all to please take their seats. Kindly settle down. I would also like to let everybody know to pick up that little device in your pocket and put that on mute or a vibratory mode so that we do not disturb the session while it's happening. Please take a minute and put your mobile phones on mute. A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Reema Darira, your host for the day. And it's a pleasure to welcome you all to day one of the Global Maritime Summit 2023. It is the most august gathering we have ever seen because so many of you have come from the length and breadth of the world. We commence the day and the sessions in this hall with a spotlight on Gujarat, powering India's maritime growth, highlighting Gujarat's instrumental role in steering India's maritime growth. Boasting of an expansive coastline, state-of-the-art ports, and a strategic geographical positioning, Gujarat stands at the forefront of India's maritime expansion. This session seeks not only to illuminate Gujarat's maritime vision, but also to delve into the myriad opportunities awaiting for future growth and collaborations. We have the honor of having amongst us eminent dignitaries from Gujarat and from international. Please put your hands together and give a very warm welcome to our session chair, Shri Kanubai Desai, the Honorable Finance Minister of Gujarat, whose visionary leadership has played a pivotal role in shaping the economic landscape of this dynamic state. Please also keep the applause going on for His Excellency Freddie Swain, the Ambassador of Denmark to India, representing a nation renowned for its maritime expertise and highlighting the importance of international collaborations. We also welcome onto the dais Shri S.K. Mehta, IFS, the chairman of Deen Dayal Port Authority, DPA, a stalwart in the maritime industry who has overseen the development of India's premier ports. To join them onto the dais, I invite Shri Rajkumar Beniwal, IAS, the Vice Chairman and CEO of Gujarat Maritime Board, a driving force behind Gujarat's maritime vision. Could we have a louder, warm applause for our dignitaries? I would now invite to the podium Shri S.K. Mehta ji to give the welcome address.
Good afternoon to the distinguished dignitaries on the dais. I am honored to welcome Honorable Finance Minister of Gujarat State, Sri Kanubai Desai ji, the Ambassador of Denmark to India, Sri Rajkumar Beniwal, Vice Chairman CEO Gujarat Maritime Board, all the distinguished panel participants, our esteemed guests at the Global Maritime India Summit 2023, guests, friends from print and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen. Together, we gather here for a special session, Gujarat, powering India's maritime growth. Gujarat has always been a vibrant hub for trade and commerce, particularly from the maritime perspective. Gujarat, a dynamic economic powerhouse, plays a vital role in India's industrial production and exports. It holds an impressive 20% share in the nation's industrial output and has been India's top exporter for last 3 consecutive years. In the fiscal year 22-23, Gujarat's export reached an impressive rupees 12 lakh crores, contributing a substantial 33% to India's total exports and making an impressive 8.6% to the country's GDP. Gujarat is, as we all know, Gujarat is home to 49 ports and handles approximately 40% of all cargo of Indian ports. Non-major ports playing a very important role. Non-major ports, we are anticipating that the non-major ports of Gujarat, the traffic could increase up to 750 million metric ton by the year 2027. Gujarat's commitment to sustainability is commendable. It ranks second in India for renewable energy generation, with 21 gigawatts of installed RE capacity, aiming to generate about 50% of its total power from renewables only by year 2030. The vibrant state's remarkable journey is a proof of the innovation and capabilities of its 7 crore residents. We believe that this session will invite regulatory and industry leaders to explore the immense potential of the coastal state of Gujarat and discuss the opportunities and challenges in its development. Spearheaded by Honorable Prime Minister during his tenure as Chief Minister, the Vibrant Gujarat initiative has been instrumental in transforming the state into a thriving economic powerhouse and a global business destination. It envisions Gujarat as a hub for investment, innovation, and sustainable development, with a primary goal of attracting domestic and foreign investments, encouraging entrepreneurship, and fostering economic growth across diverse sectors. With significant achievements over the last 2 decades, the 2024 edition is expected to have a congregation of about 50,000 delegates, and it has secured investment commitments exceeding rupees 30 lakh crores. Aligned with Honorable Prime Minister's visions of India economic growth, Vibrant Gujarat exemplifies the state's ability to optimize its economic potential, serving as a model for other states. In summary, Gujarat government is actively working on human capacity building, technological adoption, hinterland connectivity, and aligning maritime industry activities with global best practices. Once again, I would like to extend warm welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. As we embark on this journey, let us collectively steer our industry towards a cleaner, more environmentally conscious, and economically prosperous future. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for getting the entire room warmed up and excited about the session ahead. We now move forward for the felicitation of our dignitaries. I invite Shri S.K. Mehta ji to welcome Shri Kanubai Desai, our Honorable Minister, Finance Minister, Gujarat. Presenting a shawl and a memento I invite Shri Rajkumar Beniwal, IAS and VC and CEO of Gujarat Maritime Board, to welcome His Excellency Freddie Swain, Ambassador of Denmark to India. I request Sri Rajkumar Beniwal ji to also present a memento to Sri S.K. Mehta ji. And I invite Sri Kalpesh Vithlani, General Manager Projects of Gujarat Maritime Board, to welcome Sri Rajkumar Beniwal, IAS Vice Chairman and CEO of Gujarat Maritime Board, to present a shawl and a memento. With a warm welcome of strengthening the ties and relationships, thank you so much. We now move ahead for one other part of the session, which again is about building strong relationships, strong bonds, and ties. We have the exchange of the MOUs. And first, we have 3 MOUs between Gujarat Maritime Board and Sagarmala Development Company. I'd request Mr. Dilip Gupta, MD from SDCL, and Mr. Rajkumar Beniwal from GMB to kindly exchange the MOUs. In the presence of our eminent dignitaries, we have the exchange of the MOUs. Next, we have a strategic MOU between GMB and Indian Ports Association, IPA. I'd invite Mr. Vikas Narwal, MD of IPA, to kindly come ahead. We also have an MOU between GMB and Goa Shipyard Limited. I'd request Chairman and MD, Shri Brajesh Kumar Upadhyay ji, to come onto the stage. Thank you, sir. And after the exchange of the MOUs, I'm going to request everybody to kindly orient yourself to the screen. We have a short AV playing on the screen for all of you. It's about Gujarat, powering India's maritime growth.
at the 3rd Global Maritime India Summit 2023. India's maritime strength shines bright, spotlighting Gujarat, India's leading maritime state. It commands a substantial 39% of the nation's cargo. The Gujarat Maritime Board, the country's maritime emblem, has overseen the rise of 48 non-major ports, accounting for 29% of India's cargo. From Pipavav, India's first private port, to Mundra, its largest, Gujarat Maritime Board has transformed Gujarat's maritime dreams into reality. Gujarat aspires for maritime grandeur, focusing on innovation, expansion, and partnership. Initiatives include developing Chara, Jafrabad Greenfield ports, and Bhavnagar Brownfield Port. Gujarat Maritime Board's ambition extends to mega ports, enhancing current facilities and promoting future cargo infrastructures. Contributing 8.27% of India's GDP, Gujarat boasts 12% of India's factories and over 18% of industrial output. It commands 1,600 kilometers of the country's coastline and handled 416 million tons of cargo in financial year 23. Essential connectivity corridors like DMIC and Western Dedicated Freight Corridor traverse Gujarat. GIFT City, India's first international finance and tech city, is located in Gujarat. Pro-investment policies further mark its leading position.
गुजरात ने जिस तरह बीते 2 दशकों में अपने समुद्री सामर्थ्य को समझते हुए पोर्ट लेड डेवलपमेंट को प्राथमिकता दी है, वो हर गुजराती के लिए गौरव का विषय है। इस दौरान गुजरात के कोस्टल इलाकों में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और डेवलपमेंट के दूसरे प्रोजेक्टों पर विशेष ध्यान दिया है। राज्य में शिप बिल्डिंग पॉलिसी बनाना हो, शिप बिल्डिंग पार्क बनाना हो या स्पेशलाइज्ड टर्मिनल का निर्माण, हर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को प्राथमिकता दी गई है।
Aiming for efficient cargo movement, Gujarat is launching infrastructures like multimodal logistics parks, Gati Shakti freight terminals, and coastal jetties, among others, with a comprehensive strategy based on macro assessments. Echoing ancient Lothal's legacy, Gujarat introduces a world-class port city, balancing vibrant industrial and serene residential zones with top-notch community infrastructures. A blend of tradition and innovation. It's where future aspirations dock. For uplifting the coastal fishing community, Gujarat Maritime Board is implementing fishing harbour projects like Mangrol and Sutrapara. Initiatives at Alang Ship Recycling Yard ensure proper training and welfare for over 1,000 workers. In 2019, Gujarat Maritime Board's forward-thinking vision led to the foundation of the Gujarat Maritime University, GMU. This was followed by the launch of India's premier commercial maritime services cluster in 2020. By 2021, they further expanded their horizons, introducing the Gujarat International Maritime Arbitration Centre to ensure streamlined stakeholder dispute resolution. Aligned with global decarbonization goals, Gujarat Maritime Board's ports are now pivoting to renewable energy, emphasizing growth alongside sustainability. And when ships end their voyages, Gujarat ensures they do so with dignity. Revolutionizing ship recycling, we merge sustainability with innovation. Alang, the world's premier ship recycling yard, has processed over 8,600 ships since 1983. With 103 plots compliant with Hong Kong Convention, They aim to achieve full compliance soon, blending sustainable innovation. Gujarat's coastline embodies India's rich maritime heritage while showcasing its ambition to rise as a global maritime leader. As Gujarat Maritime India Summit 2023 unfolds, immerse yourself in the exploration, celebration and crafting of India's maritime future. With Gujarat at the forefront. Gujarat isn't just a state, it's a statement of ambition, vision and unwavering commitment to India's maritime growth.
That was setting the vision of Gujarat and going forward. Okay, so next, let me invite onto this podium for a special address by His Excellency Freddie Swain, the Ambassador of Denmark to India. Please welcome him with a warm applause.
Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, members sitting on the dais. I can only say one word in Gujarati, which is Kimcho. You understand, huh? It's always special to be part of a Gujarati event. I came to Gujarat first time in 2011. So I have seen what Gujarat was, what Gujarat has developed into, and now we are talking about the future. And there's no better future for Gujarat and India than the maritime industry. What Gujarat has set sails for, and now stretching the hands, holding the globe in our joint hands, is simply remarkable. But you should not rest on your already achieved results. You have to think big, you have to think green, and you have to think towards the future. Denmark and India, we have agreed to a green strategic partnership. And some of you might be sleeping down there, but I will ask you to wake up. But anyhow, the 5 S's that are really signifying our green strategic partnership would also and should also apply to the maritime industry out of Gujarat. Namely, the scale, the skills, the scope, the speed, and sustainability. If you want to have a green, sustainable, future-oriented maritime industry, I can only say this is Denmark, this is Gujarat, and India. So we have to keep the globe in our hands. That's the only way forward. Logistics and shipping, very, very important sector for the global economy. And if we are not able really to secure that we are greening from the fuels towards the harbor and terminal operations and the vessels, then it would be extremely difficult really to fight the climate changes. And I can't think of a better collaboration between Denmark and Gujarat for a greener and more sustainable world. And luckily, we also have a big Danish logistic and shipping major, Maersk, and they're also running the Pipavav port. And I recall when I was living in India, I've lived here for 11 years, so I might be a little bit worn out, but I still remember during the COVID how important the Pipavav terminal was for helping India through the first and especially the second wave. So Gujarat means a lot for Denmark, means a lot for the rest of the world, but also for India. And one thing that you should keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, or as your Prime Minister says, friends, that is that we also have a collaboration between the Gujarat Maritime Board and the university when it comes to what we call the Blue MBA. So many Indians are crewing our vessels under Danish flag. And you would be surprised how many Indian seafarers are crewing our vessels. And shipping in a Danish context is a very, very important contributor to our economy. We are only 6 million people. Not much, but we are smart. And we have fantastic and smart companies who are plowing the waves of the global seas. But to do that, we need clever and smart Indians. And Gujarat is the place for that. When I look back, when I came to Gujarat first time, in May 2011, I met your then Chief Minister, and we were sitting in Dahej discussing the future of India. He might have known that he'll become the Prime Minister. I might not have known I would be the ambassador for my second tenure in India. But we agreed at that time that the way forward for the world and for India and smart Denmark would be the green trajectory. And I think and I hope that with the upcoming Vibrant Gujarat next year, that we'll be able to land a lot of landmarks so we can set the sail for a better future. But, Honorable Minister, I know you will be saying some nice words about Denmark, and we applaud you beforehand for that. But I also have to say, and raise a little bit my hand here, and say, if you want to do real business, you also have to focus on ease of doing business. I normally say, words are fantastic, but actions are better. Or action speaks louder than words. So I do hope that also the Gujarat government and the Indian government will keep that in mind so we can see a very prosperous, a very strong, and a very future and action-oriented India for the future. That's the wish. We need a strong India. We need a very, very future-oriented India. If we are going to tackle the climate changes and deliver on the SDGs, then India has to be part of the equation. And as a small surprise, we made our minister to send a special message for you, all of you. So could we call upon this guy to run the video? Mr. President, where are you? Yep. 1, 2, 3.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you turn up the voice a
Greetings
little bit?
on this great occasion, the Global Maritime India Summit 2023, to which Denmark is a proud partner country. This summit is an excellent opportunity for the international maritime community to come together, to talk and cooperate, to address key issues of our time. Today we face a monumental challenge, decarbonizing the shipping industry. We must work together to find the right solutions and to get all countries on board. We have a common agenda for ambitious climate regulation within the IMO. Through close cooperation, we can steer toward a sustainable green future, a future that affects not only shipping, but all of humanity. In recent years, Denmark and India have formed a bond that continues to strengthen. Our green strategic partnership is a cornerstone of this relationship. In Denmark, we see vast potential of cooperation with India within green shipping, renewable energy sources, and new innovative technologies. I want to congratulate my colleague, Honourable Minister Sonowal, for the opening of the National Centre of Excellence on Green Ports and Shipping. And we look forward to working closely with you through the Indo-Danish Centre of Excellence in Shipping. I wish everyone a great, successful Global Maritime India Summit 2023. May the discussions be fruitful, the insight invaluable, and the connection strong and enduring. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So thank you for listening to the man in Denmark who is supporting the shipping industry because he knows that shipping is the engine of growth. And may this symbolize, Honorable Minister, may this symbolize that Denmark and India, we are holding the future of Mother Earth in our hands. And we know that words are not sufficient, but action is needed. Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Could we have a louder applause for His Excellency? Denmark, as you know it, is one of the top nations and countries for happiness. It is known for a happiness quotient. Cushy, yes. And India is the land of spirituality. So when we are bringing together both of these values together, I'm sure it's going to be holding the entire world and the nation at a very high state. So thank you for bringing that vibe here and the energy here from Denmark. Thank you so much. And I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, you are waiting for the next speaker and to listen to our Honorable Finance Minister from Gujarat and his idea about the vision of Gujarat for the Maritime. For the keynote address, I invite to the podium Shri Kanubai Desai, our Honorable Finance Minister.
Namaskar. His Excellencies Mr. Freddy Sven, Ambassador of Denmark to India, Mr. S.K. Mehta, IFS Chairman, Dindayal Ports Authority, Mr. Rajkumar Beniwal, Vice Chairman and CEO, Gujarat Maritime Board, distinguished guests, delegates from industries, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to you all the Gujarat session at the Global Maritime India Summit 2023. I express my gratitude for your presence. Under the able leadership of our Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, India has experienced remarkable economic growth. A significant contribution to India's growth is also came from maritime sector. Gujarat has vast 1,600 kilometers of coastline, which is the longest in the country. As Mr. Sen rightly said, we have to explore most of the possibilities which is not explored so far. So we will take very fast actions. And that is not serving only Gujarat, but Gujarat coastline is also serving northern states and also the state of centrals. Gujarat has a very strong history of maritime trade in the past. And today we are in the front foot. Maritime activities, Gujarat top lead index is the logistic index which India has 2018, 2019 and 2021. Gujarat is leading in this index because Gujarat has a lot of infrastructure facilities, roads, rail and all the facilities so that the transportation can be easy. Our state advanced ports and infrastructure strategic investments are in the shipping, the port-led development as our Prime Minister today morning also said. Projects under the PM Gati Shakti and Sagarmala projects are under rapid progress. We are also additionally benefited because Gujarat is a link of industrial clusters like petrochemicals, automobiles, ceramics, and thriving our maritime strengths. The Gujarat Maritime Cluster at Gift City, Ahmedabad, demonstrates our vision for interconnected maritime ecosystem. As mentioned by our Prime Minister in the morning, Gift City is a first financial international center which gives all the services for ship leasing or aircraft leasing, arbitration center also in the finance center. So it will give a very good facility for anybody who is coming and investing in Gujarat. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how important sustainability. You are talking about the sustainability. I would like to mention that Gujarat is the first in wind power. We have installed capacity of 11,000 megawatt, which is highest in India, and we have 9,000 megawatt of solar energy, which is second in India. Gujarat is also progressing very well on hydrogen, and with majority of India's ships are coming or passing through Gujarat, our industries have been able to shift towards the more sustainable energies. Similarly, diversification is the key. We are investing in shipbuilding, ship repair, maritime education, skill development. Our Alang ship recycling yard stands as a global leader in eco-friendly ship recycling. Furthermore, the Gujarat Maritime University, as mentioned, is supporting maritime education as well as professional developments. Gujarat vision to extend to port-led industrialization. This was also mentioned by our Prime Minister in the morning, that port-led industrialization always put less pressure on urbanization in the very, very crowded cities. This will reduce the cost of efficient urbanization. Our maritime heritage will, through the National Maritime Heritage Complex, the first of its kind in global tourist destination being developed at Lothal, that is also mentioned in the morning. Lothal is a place which we will like to see, and you will see that how the maritime development has taken place over the years. I would like to have special mention about Denmark. India and Denmark has unparalleled bond of making the maritime industry better and forward-looking. Both countries signed maritime cooperation agreement in Vibrant Gujarat 2017 with focus on green shipbuilding, construction of heavy navy vessels, technology innovations, and maritime safety. And he mentioned about Pipavav. We have shared partnership across port operations in Pipavav. The strategic partnership of Copenhagen Business School and Gujarat Maritime University, I extend my sincere gratitude to the Denmark for their partnership and shared vision. Together we shall continue to sail towards a brighter, greener and more prosperous future to come. And the last, I would like to mention that Gujarat is in the driving seat for the maritime future. Let us collectively work towards the progressive, sustainable maritime sector. As I close, I cordially invite you to Gujarat Vibrant Summit, which is coming in 10th January 24th to 12th January 24. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. And could we have the applaud going on, please? It is not every day that you listen to such eminent dignitaries on one stage. And with this, we come to the end of the inaugural session. And before I ask our dignitaries to take their seats with the audience, I would ask them to stand up to take a picture. Let us capture the moment with a picture. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I request our dignitaries to please take their seats in front of the stage. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move forward for our panel discussion. So please be seated. In just a few minutes, we're going to have a complete changeover of the dais. We're going to have our panelists up here. And again, we're going to talk about topics which are very much in demand right now, which is sustainability. So the panel discussion is about Gujarat pioneering sustainable and innovative port-led growth, and this would be moderated by Mr. Mihir Shah. He's the partner of Ernst & Young. Post the session, definitely there would be a networking opportunity, so I request you all to please be seated. And as today is the inaugural day, day one of the Maritime Summit, you've heard many speakers, you've heard many eminent speakers talking about growth, talking about sustainability, talking about visions, and that is what we all have to take forward. A vision for India, a vision for the world. Okay, requesting everyone to take their seats. I'd once again reiterate on our panel discussion topic, Gujarat pioneering sustainable and innovative port-led growth. I would invite our panelists onto the dais. Once again, I'd call and invite onto the dais Shri S.K. Mehta, IFS Chairman of the Deen Dayal Port Authority. Please welcome them with a huge round of applause. To join, sir, we have Captain Umesh Abhyankar, CEO, Dredging Business, Adani Group and Special Economic Zone Limited, an industry leader pioneering excellence in the field of dredging and infrastructure. To join them, I invite to the dais Mr. Jonathan Golner, Chief Executive, Asia and Middle East, APM Terminals, a global expert in port operations, contributing to the efficiency of ports worldwide. Our next panelist is Mr. Wim van Gerwen, Director and Vice President Operations at ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel India, a leader in steel production, playing a vital role in the steel and logistics sector. We also have Mr. Adhendru Jain, CEO, Rail and Inland Terminals, SCO Region, DP World, India. He's a visionary in logistics, bridging the gap between ports and hinterland connectivity. We also have Mr. Cohen Corneli, Manager Port Projects, Port of Antwerp, Bruges, a global expert in port development, shaping the future of maritime infrastructure. And our moderator for this panel discussion, Mr. Mihir Shah, Partner Ernst & Young, a thought leader with an expert in maritime consulting. Could we have a huge round of applause for our panelists? And over to you, Mr. Mihir Shah.
A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very powerful panel today here to discuss the maritime sector. Before we embark on this journey of discussion, I have a brief presentation about Gujarat, what it is, where it is, and what is its vision. So, first of all, where do we stand? A few slides on that. You see, all over the world, if we take up the entire cargo handled across the world, India handles around 11% of the world cargo, and out of that, 3% is handled by Gujarat. So 3% of the world cargo is handled by Gujarat. That shows the capacity which Gujarat is having right now. Little figures about what is the trend across the world. Maritime volume, the trade volumes are growing at a CAGR of approximately 2%. And if we see the status of our country, India is growing at a CAGR of approximately 4%. And out of that, we can see in India, liquid cargo and dry bulk cargo, as of today, dominates the majority of the cargo that is handled. But if we see across the world, the scenario is changing more towards container cargo. On the left-hand side graph shows the total cargo handled in terms of major ports. In India, major ports are handled by Government of India and non-major ports are handled by respective states. So you can see that the growth of major and non-major ports is almost same. Both are contributing equally to the economy of the country. Now this is the situation of Gujarat. Friends, from 81-82 to 22-23, if I compare, the cargo handle capacity has been increasing at a CAGR rate of 15%. 15%. More than 50% of India's LNG and LPG throughput is from Gujarat ports. Highest number of LNG terminals, and about 39% of India's container cargo is also handled by Gujarat ports. So this is where we exist. As far as export and imports are concerned, this is our basket. Mostly the exports, 40% container, 18% HSD, petrol 7%, so chemicals and container major exports. Imports, again, you can see crude oil, container and coal. They are dominating our import basket. Now, this is how we have achieved it. There is a little story about it. We started our journey way back in 1981-82. So as I earlier told, major ports of the country are handled by Government of India and non-major ports are handled by respective government. In Gujarat, we have three kind of ports. One, those are run by the Gujarat Maritime Board. Second, those ports which are administered by Gujarat Maritime Board. And third, those ports which are regulated by Gujarat Maritime Board. So it is the flexibility of our policies and regulatory system that has really helped us in achieving those kind of growths and targets. Gujarat Maritime Board itself contributes around 6% of the total cargo by Gujarat Maritime Board jetties, which is not that big, but our presence is there. We want our presence. Where it is going? Yeah. Major contribution is coming from two kind of ports. One is port administered by GMB, and that is linked to, there is some, okay, where it is going? Yeah. So, you change it. You go back. Yeah, okay. Yes. So captive jetties, you can see almost 40% cargo is handled by captive jetties, that is 35 in numbers, and almost 51%, 52% of the cargo is through private ports. So these two sector of ports are very important for us, captive jetties and private ports. Then there are joint sector ports, and then there are private jetties. Next. Now our policies started in 1982. The year in which Gujarat Maritime Board was established. In 95, we came up our first and country's first port policy, which allowed private ports to develop. Then 97, boot policy. 99, model concession agreements and captive jetty guidelines. 2003, double stack container trains were started from Pipavav port. Go back. Yeah. Then 2008, captive jetty. Expansion guidelines were issued. 2010, shipbuilding policy was brought. Next. 2011, advanced BTMS systems were developed in Gulf of Cambay. 2017, passenger ferry services were started. Again in 17, FSRU-based LNG import terminals were started. Can you remove the auto change of the slide? Just 1 second. Sorry for the technical glitch. So 2019, we formed Gujarat Maritime University. Schedule of port charges revision was done. 20, Gujarat Maritime Cluster was formed. Then CNG terminal at Bhavnagar was approved. 21, International Maritime Arbitration Center was started. All these things, every year you can see one thing or the other is happening in our maritime sector. Next, please. Yeah, so the maritime development or the growth of this sector doesn't only depend on one part. It has to be a holistic, comprehensive approach towards the entire ecosystem. You can see there are many players in this sector, like stevedores, shipping agents, maritime education institutions, ship repairing. Generally, what we see in maritime sector is private ports and the cargo handling. That is a very small part of the overall ecosystem. You see this picture shows at the top, we just see only the top things. Private port, private jetties, captive jetties, shipbuilding, ship recycling. But under the water, there are a lot of things which need, to develop. We need to develop them to really strengthen strengthen this sector, like shippers, receivers, cargo interests, ship owners, ship leasing companies, insurance companies, technical consultants, maritime ICT companies, shipping finance. All these entities have to be part of our entire ecosystem. Then only we can really grow our maritime sector. Next. This shows that the contribution of different kind of jetties that we have. Captive jetty contributes around 164 million metric ton of cargo. This is the location. I've shown this slide particularly to tell you that we have used the entire coastline of Gujarat. It's not at one place we are concentrating. It's the entire coastline which is being developed. Next. These are the private ports, 4 major private ports which contribute to more than 50% of our cargo. Next. These are GMB jetties. Next. These are private ports which are contributing to almost, these are private jetties basically, which are contributing to around 216 million metric ton. Next. Now, these are our upcoming projects. First one is already operating private ports. 4 major operating private ports are there, and they are having expansion plans. We are coming up with our new concession agreement policy, under which most of our ports, existing ports, will be enhancing their capacity, bringing more investment. Under implementation, these 3 ports are upcoming: Bhavnagar, Chhara, and Jafrabad, and 4 or 5 ports we have proposed in the coming years to develop, and that also across the coastline. Next. Beside the ports, we also are focusing on social infrastructure, particularly for the fishermen. We are developing fishing jetties for the fishermen. 4 new jetties are coming up, and already there are a lot of jetties. Next. Now, next. Ship recycling is, again, as you know, that in the world we are the leader, and Alang is the place where the highest capacity exists as far as India and Asia is concerned. We have a 10-kilometer long coastline where these plots exist. 131 plots are operational out of 153. More than 400 ships are scrapped here every year. Until now, more than 8,000 ships have been scrapped. 32% of the global volume is recycled at this place, and direct and indirect employment for more than 150,000 people. Out of these 103 yards are HKC compliant, which is the latest guideline or the norm for ship recycling yards. And 27 of these have applied for EU certification so that EU ships can also come here. Next. We are developing latest facility for the workers there. We are coming up with the latest trauma center and hospital center. We have developed the treatment facilities. We are coming up with the latest residential units. We have come up with the latest training institute for the workers there, for their safety. Then landfill sites, hospitals, everything. We are developing an entire ecosystem there for these ship recycling units. Next, please. Yeah, now we propose to double the capacity of our ship recycling yards, and whatever new yards we will develop, they will be of international class, following all kind of regulations and rules. So you can see the yellow line is the area where we are coming up with 50 new plots. The size of these plots will be bigger than the existing one. So as of now, we have a capacity of 5.24 MMTPA, and we will be adding another 6 MMTPA in another 3 to 4 years. Next. Once this is done, then Alang will be world's biggest ship recycling yard. Now, what is our vision basically? Next. So you see that this graph shows just a little focus on this. It shows the growth of CAGR of different states. Now you see Gujarat is now growing at a CAGR of 1.97%, while you see the Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, they are growing at a rate of some 40%, 7%, 9%, 3%. I have specifically kept this slide to tell that we understand our competition. We understand where do we exist, and accordingly we are planning to change our policies and for the future. Next, please. This is another important thing which we are taking into consideration for developing our policies. See, this entire network, this web shows the ecosystem of maritime sector. Every sector has to be developed. Right now we are good in only two things. You can see that. Ports and one more area. But you see other countries, Singapore, London, Oslo, etc. The entire web is developed. So we have to change our policies in such a way that we develop the entire web, not only the particular one sector, that we increase our port capacity, that's it. No, it's not that. We have to increase the financing capacity, we have to increase the education part related to maritime sector, we have to increase the insurance part, ship leasing part, everything. So this is the entire ecosystem in which we have to focus. Next. And based on that, we are doing our business process re-engineering. These are some of the areas of our focus, which include restructuring, fixing timelines, promotion of alternative dispute resolution, land banks, process mapping, incubation centers, investor facilitation cells, ease of doing business, basically what Ambassador Freddie just mentioned. Next. We are also aligning our policies with the vision of Maritime India Vision 2030, which focuses on landlord model for major ports, reduce maritime logistic cost and time, non-core asset monetization, development of cruise tourism, global leader in ship recycling, national maritime transport portal, etc. So we are aligning our policies in line with the India Vision. Next. These are some of the surveys that we have got it done for our future planning. This is the projection for 2040. What kind of capacity do we need, and in particularly which sector, what kind of commodity, dry bulk, liquid bulk, container, etc. Next. These are some of the, right now we have a capacity of 638 million metric ton of port capacity, 465 is being used. But by 40, we will require 800 million metric tons. So we need to have more than 1200, 1300 MMTPA of capacity. So accordingly, we have to plan for those capacities. Next, please. These are some of the commodities on which we have to focus. Next. Next. This is another slide, important slide, to create an ecosystem in Gujarat for maritime sector. For that, we have started Gujarat Maritime University to provide talent pool, Gujarat Maritime Cluster, to create an ecosystem and to help the investors, whoever is coming here, at one place, all the solutions they can get, all the advice they can get, and a dispute resolution mechanism, that is Gujarat International Maritime Arbitration Center. All these three are being developed at Gift City in Gandhinagar. And at the bottom part, we are coming up with a special company which will be developing our own ports and logistics. Gujarat Port and Logistics Company Limited has been formed particularly to focus on our own ports. Next. These are some of the broad vision areas on which we will be focusing. I'll not delve in detail in these. Next, please. Now, this is another important project that we are coming up, that is Port City. Now, you know that wherever there is, development of port, other activities automatically come. But what happens, the port comes first and then the industries comes, and without planning things develop. What we want now is we want to plan everything first and then develop it. So we are coming up with a plan of Port City in Gujarat, which will be having a capacity, port capacity of almost 300 to 400 million metric ton of cargo handling, as well as an area of around 500 square kilometer. That is the vision basically. We have already started working on that. And this is important because That is the requirement of future cargo or maybe the future city. It will be greenfield, it's on its own kind of city, and it will be serving all sectors of economy, particularly the port sector, the industry sector, and the real estate as well as service sector. So we have worked on that. Then we are working on private participation in the port development. Till now, it has been very good, but still we want to further realign our policy so that we can attract more and more private investment. We are improving our own ports capacity and efficiency, and we are creating the ecosystem by GMC, GMAC, GMU, GIFT, ship leasing, etc. And we are revisiting our old policies. This is our main vision for developing or remaining the leader in this sector. Next, please. These are some of the investment opportunities. Just I have kept this slide because we'll share this presentation with all of you. You can go through it. Next. These are country-specific opportunities that we have identified with like Denmark, Belgium, Norway, Germany. All these countries we can have a specific, we can have our focus area to each country differently. Next. Yeah. So that's it about Gujarat. We are having our biggest investor summit next year in January. Vibrant Gujarat 2024. We invite all of you to attend this summit. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much for that truly energizing vision. I am conscious of the time and the fact that a couple of our panel members also have subsequent rounds of conversation. So maybe minor alteration to the plan that we had. But first of all, great warm welcome to all of you. It is really warm. And I do see the amount of interest that from the amount of people who are coming into the room. So I think the warm, as Adandru said, warm in the sense of welcoming. So great remark at the start. This is particularly very, very important for me personally and a matter of pride, as I was explaining to the Honorable Minister, is that I belong from Gujarat, I am a Gujarati. And the fact that I was given the opportunity to moderate this session, I'm truly grateful to GMB and to the Honorable Minister. And when I was given the list of panel members, I was truly privileged, and I had the opportunity to having an engagement with them for 10-15 minutes before the conversation that we had today. And I think some of the conversations I had were life lessons. I mean, Captain Abhyankar, I think he's, to me, I will be always a fan of yours in sustainability. I learned 15 minutes more than what I had probably earned in my 20 years of career. So again, a distinguished panel of experts. So let me just quickly dive into 6 topics that we have. So we have a very, diverse topic landscape, to say. So the first one, and probably the one that probably is very close to me, is around technology. There's a lot of, I think if I look at globally and in India also, I think we are leading the front on technology and the disruption that technology is having cross-sectorial, and more so in ports also. So Government of India obviously is doing a lot, but the private sector is also really up the bandwagon. So Wim, first to you, on technology, how do you see the port landscape evolving from a tech perspective? And I'm going to switch a bit of a question format just to get the best out of you. And how do you see really technology helping a state like Gujarat, achieve that vision? Slightly different.
Thank you for having me here. I think when we think about technology, then first we have to think about why should ports really evolve digitally. And I think it's basically for the same reasons as all the other industries do this. So when we look to a port, it is basically a part of a large supply chain network. And it is in itself a cluster of several functions. So, and there is huge data available in this port, but that can optimize and drive the performance. So for the moment, what we see most of the time is that in our ports, we have a saturated operational efficiency, and we are not always seamlessly in line with our upstream and downstream customers and supplier base. We have, of course, an increased pressure on cost and revenue maximization, and not to forget sustainability as well. And here, technology can really help a lot. We can use sensors. We can use for condition monitoring. We can use sensors for warehousing, for all kind of things that provide us data, and this data give them the opportunity to steer these operations much better, make sure that we can connect with our customers much better, make sure that we can form an integrated supply chain. Everybody is discussing multimodal hubs, but for me, the technology is the glue to these hubs to make sure that we can really do this. Because at the end of the day, a customer is interested when he will get his material at his customer, and then it should not be that it takes months and months and months, or it gets stuck in there and there, or it is very cumbersome. And this is where technology really can help. It can not only go with sensors, it can also be with models. You can do with big data, you can do regression, you can do with artificial intelligence, things that we do in our steel plant also, but which are incredible and which we have not even thought about in the port sector. So I really think this is it's a huge thing, and it's fortunately much too wide to explain in 2 minutes.
Thank you, Wim, but I think you've touched upon the key parts. I mean, I remember talking to a number of investors, and I think the panel would also agree that today it's no longer about traceability, it's about predictability. That's what customers want, and I think technology is at the heart of ensuring predictability. So let me move to Captain Abhinkar. We talked about sustainability. That's a buzzword. Consultants like us make a lot of money because of that. Thank you. But there's a lot of, behind the buzz, there's a lot of reality. And as you explained to me that day, why don't you kind of enlighten the group in terms of scope 1, 2, 3, where really the action is from a port sector? And I think the point that you mentioned about biofuels, I think that's a very important point from a policy perspective. So if you can throw some light on that.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for inviting me over here. Sustainability is such a vast subject, and let me go a little back, I think 3-4 years back, and we heard the acronym ESG. And in one of the board meetings, I was told to explain and get into what is this ESG. Now, it was as much as Greek and Latin for me as much it was for practically everybody else. So when I started getting into it, environment, social, governance. When you start digging deeper and deeper, governance, of course, what you do, what you write, and as long as policy, that was the much easier part. Social, what everybody understands is gender bias. And that was a point of discussion which always came up. What is the male to female ratio? Are you actually doing something? And so on and so forth for social. But when it came to environment, that was a labyrinth. So what are we going to do about environment? And that's when I got deeper and deeper and started understanding what is scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. So from a layman's perspective, if you look at what is scope 1, if you're running a port, I'm talking of the port because that's where I belong. Whatever you do, whatever activities you're carrying out inside the port, are they sustainable? Let's take right from your vessel coming in, of course, which is not under your control, but the tugs are under your control, the dredges are under your control, the cranes are under your control, the horizontal transportation, the earth-moving equipment, the loading equipment, all this is which is under your control. Is it on a sustainable path? Is it being fed with hydrocarbons or is it with sustainable fuel? So that was part of the scope 1. Then when it got to scope 2, the energy that you're taking, whatever your contract demand is that from a renewable source or is it again from the normal grid burning fossil fuels? Scope 3 was the easiest. What is not scope 1, scope 2 became scope 3. So I used to like scope 3. I said, if we outsource everything, then we are practically not responsible. But that's not how it was. So when you look at the large cranes that every port has, when you look at an import cycle, the ship coming in, is it under your control? The answer is no. But the cranes are definitely under your control. So are they running on hydrocarbons or are they running on electricity? So that was the easiest thing that we have managed to do, is convert all to electrical fed. Then the horizontal transportation came in. Till about 2 years back, it was not available in the market, but 2 years back, we actually got hold of the trucks, whatever transportation. We went ahead and took about 480 trucks. So the container movement inside of ports became fully battery operated, fed in. Then the electrical policy, the renewable policy, I think Gujarat had, but the latest, I believe, as of yesterday, it has been changed. You can actually have 100% solar to meet your demand, so that is a good thing. But I believe 3 years back, it was slightly different. You were allowed only 50% solar and 50% wind. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that has changed since then. So when you go to scope 2, are you actually getting in? And scope 3, what is not under your control? Now, when I get into scope 1, what are the two things which are actually beyond your control? Hydrocarbons. And is there a replacement for hydrocarbons? There is a lot of talk on alternative fuels, whether it is methanol, whether it is ammonia, whether it is hydrogen. But what is closest and what is easily available is the biofuels. And I also happen to look into Ambuja Shipping and helping them out after we have taken over. We've got 10 ships over there. We are actually running 10 of those ships on 30% of biofuel. And we have tried out with 100% biofuel. We have actually run an engine and a vessel from Magdalla to Mooldwarka and back. So today there is 30% concentration. And what I have told me here, the hurdle today, though all the engines are geared up for running on 100% biofuel, biofuel is not available in the country easily. So it's fits and starts. I go to 50%, I don't get the supplies, go back to diesel. Again, go to 100%, again I have to scale back. So if we can do something about that, that every port can get the sustainable biofuels, I think it will be a great thing. Because then you can convert one part of that scope 1, which is your dredges, which is your tugs, and which is your coastal shipping. Even if it is coming, you can actually convert that and go on to make a statement that what is under our control, we can definitely go green fully. Then there was a lot of discussion on shore power. What is under our control, again, is easy. We have all the tugs and even the cement ships we are carrying, they're 100% on shore power wherever we are operating. But all the ships that visit our country, maybe in the European ports, it's a compulsion. The ships are designed for accepting 100% shore power. But the ships that actually come into our country, out of the bulk carrier, the tankers, LPG, LNG, containers, only 6% of the vessels which came into Mundra, where we started doing an analysis and doing the baselining, were capable of taking the entire load. Otherwise, all ships are capable of taking only the dry dock load or hotel load, it's called. And when we did the back-end working, if there was no support, a normal kilowatt by burning diesel or IFO 380 or 680 would cost about 7 rupees or 7.5. And if we went into complete renewable, it was coming to 47 rupees per unit, non-sustainable. So how do we go about changing that? So if the government can actually help on the biofuels, setting up practically at all ports, conversion of engines from existing hydrocarbons to biofuels is easily doable. We have tried out on 3 or 4 brands which we are operating not only over here, but even in our dredgers, and it's easily doable. So if you can look into that, I think that will help. So this in a nutshell is how we can actually talk green and walk that last mile to become green. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fantastic. I think great inputs for the government. Conscious of the time and the fact that, Jonathan, you have to shoot off, and Kun, you also. So, Mr. Mehta, if you don't mind, if I skip a question to Jonathan. So, Jonathan, we talked about port logistics and the fact that how APMs kind of got the expertise to India. Can you just talk about what kind of expertise and efficiency you've been able to kind of bring over here? And what, from a policy and a regulatory perspective, you think could provide more clarity going forward?
No, sure. Thanks. Thanks for the question. So let me start with just the concept of really lifting standards. And I think if I look across the industry today, we have an opportunity to do better. In APMT, we have over 64 ports around the world today, and we're uniquely positioned to bring the best learning to those ports here in India. We have 2 ports today that we certainly want to invest more in to expand, but we also like to expand our footprint here in India. I think the most important thing really is the people. It all starts with the people. And we have a large focused effort at upskilling our staff. We're on lean training now for year 7, where we're basically teaching every frontline worker across the world how to do problem solving. And what we found is that's really the foundation for continuous improvement every day. If we can get the people empowered to solve the problem, it works. Then I think there's something around lifting the standards around the communities that we operate in. And I see the countries that we do business in certainly just as much of a customer as any shipping line or trucker that comes to our terminals. Here I think it's about the CSR efforts. It's about helping people. So that's really what I enjoy to come here and actually get to visit some of the places where we participate and see the young men and women's lives change. It's really about improving life for everybody, and I think we're in a unique position to be able to do that. The third, we just heard about sustainability, and no doubt that's super important. So Maersk and APMT have taken a very aggressive stance, leading stance in this in the industry. We'll have our carbon footprint reduced by 50% here by end 2025 and a full 70% by 2030. I think we've got some great progress here, specifically in our 2 ports here, where we've recently signed power purchase agreements to significantly reduce the emissions that we are putting off on the terminals. And finally, it's about preparing for the future. And I think here we need to lift standards to make sure that we can meet the needs of tomorrow. And I'm excited to talk about 2 things. We'll be investing in a new LPG berth in our terminal in Pipavav. Great for the country, fits fully into the Prime Minister's plan on helping the conversion of the fuel, and excited to get that in the ground. And then we've got a complete refurbishment of our terminal in Mumbai, our gateway terminal, India, GTI, where we're completely redoing all the berth, putting in new cranes to make sure we're ready for tomorrow. So to me, it's one thing to have the infrastructure, that's obviously important, critical, but it's then obviously what do we do with it? And that's where I think the values come in, and that's where the expertise comes in, and hopefully we can lift standards to make it better for all the stakeholders in the port, because there's certainly many.
Brilliant, Jonathan. Thank you. I think good that you touched upon the social aspect, but also the fact that you're growing in India, which is good for India. So thank you very much for that. Koen, I'm going to come to you now, because you also have to kind of shoot off. John, just picking up from what Jonathan mentioned about people and capacity building and basics problem-solving skills. How do you see that evolving within the port sector? We're all talking about great growth, but we also need talent to support that growth. Now, what are your views on that?
First of all, thank you to invite a world-class port event with Bruges from Belgium. Really like that. Resource scarcity, we have that challenge as well. Skilled people, innovations led by innovative people is as well a challenge for us. How do we do that? Or how do we cope with these challenges within our port environment? Is to, we launched this month one global platform. It's called Haven Jobs in Dutch, in English, portjobs.com. It's one uniform platform where all the jobs in the port environment are available for everyone. So not a scattered environment with different websites and complications. So it's one uniform platform. A second thing we do is to attract as well young startups. So it's important to have people with new ideas Give them challenges. We have hackathons, for example, whereby we startups give a challenge and let them play against each other. So that's one thing we do to attract new innovative people as well. Then we have the Beacon. The Beacon is an organization whereby we help young startups as well to get into the port environment and to try to start up their company as well with innovative solutions, but as well with small practical solutions that help the whole supply chain in the port of Antwerp, Bruges nowadays. Then we have port days, open days, open door days, let's say, whereby we invite the community because in our mission, in our vision as well, we always say it takes two to tango. It's not only the port environment, but it's the community as well, what's a really important factor, and you need to involve them as well. Then on a higher level, we have port chain, whereby we collaborate and share our expertise and experience, as well our challenges with ports worldwide. So we have an agreement here in GNPA, whereby we have a training school. And it's not really training, but it's bringing people together to open discussions, talk about challenges, and learn from each other.
Brilliant, Kun. I think the fact that you're doing so much, clearly there's a lot to learn, and I think a lot to kind of partner with to essentially exchange those ideas. So thank you very much for that insightful. Let me come to Mr. Mehta, to you. The CEO the last slide of the CEO, the second last slide of the presentation was about the port city, and that really being the game changer as far as I'm concerned project. How do you see that kind of a mega project shaping up in the state, and what are your views on that?
Good afternoon, everybody. Port city is a concept. It's a mega concept actually, and the key to it is government vision, Gujarat government vision. It's possible in Gujarat, it's possible by the Gujarat government to take up such a massive task, to take up such a big project. Gujarat has the capacity, Gujarat has the vision, it has the policy, it has the strategy. We can see Gift City. Gift City was a concept, it was a vision. Now we can see it turning into a reality. So the first and most important thing is the vision. Gujarat mein sab sambhav hai. It is possible. We can do anything. So there are so many other things also, as Mr. Rajkumar has already shown us the maritime strength of Gujarat. In the country, in maritime strength, Gujarat is at number one. I don't have any two ways to say about that. So it is possible. If you want to develop a port city, it can be developed. It's still the most favored investment destination, Gujarat. In the current vibrant Gujarat, we are expecting about 30 lakh crore of investment. So it's the most favored investment destination. Any such project would require skilled man force. So we have in Gujarat skilled man force available with us. We have a maritime university also, which is preparing people for such tasks. The entrepreneurial skill of Gujarat people, that again is a very important thing. We have skilled man force as well as we have entrepreneurial skill also. Gujarat is blessed with the longest coastline, 7,500 kilometers. So, and Gujarat has a tradition of maritime cities also, port cities also. Lothal is a perfect example of that, as our Honorable Minister has told also that we should go and see Lothal. Lothal has been an example of a vibrant, ancient port city. So we have everything. I think it's possible in Gujarat, we can do it, and all the best to Gujarat government for that. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I think the fact of having the audacity of vision, which I think is always there I think the differentiating factor is entrepreneurship. Being a Gujarati, I can guarantee that. And that is why we see where Gujarat is. So I completely agree with all the points. So Adendra, coming to you to close the conversation, I think connectivity being the last and the most important part of ensuring that all of this works together. DFC obviously is a game changer as far as the Western Front is concerned. What are your views in terms of what are the savings, what is the potential for it to kind of really transform Gujarat per se? And do you see opportunities for investors in that front?
See, on the DFC part, I will first start with giving the very basic of DFC. DFC, the dedicated freight corridor, is basically high-speed tracks exclusively designed for carrying the cargo and freight. What that basically means is that in past, the cargo and the freight used to share the same tracks as passengers, which meant that at times they were not getting the due priority. The average speed of cargo and freight trains in past times used to be about 25 kmph per hour, which meant that they were stabling more than the running. And cargo, commodity, any of these things, if they are not moving, then it's not good for anyone. What that basically meant was that there was a lot of buffer which was getting designed into the system. The transit times were not good. I can share my own example that I have been to states for signing certain North America contracts from Nhava Sheva. And the first thing which all the retailers used to ask was that how are you going to connect my cargo which is come from North India? Like Shri Kanubai mentioned that Gujarat is not just the growth engine for Gujarat state, but it is a growth engine for all the other hinterlands as well. And today with dedicated freight corridor, what we get is faster transit, reduced cost by improvement in the carrying capacity. Now we can double stack the containers. And the most important is the reliability. If we ask any supply chain expert, they would say that more than faster transit, important is reliable and predictable transit. Because once you have the predictable and measurable transit, then you can work backwards to see when do you want to dispatch. And DFC gives us that opportunity with which we can offer predictable transit times, not only from port, but also from the hinterlands, giving it the required connectivity across the globe. As an example, at DP World, we have got a couple of ICDs in North India, but from Pali, Panipat, Modinagar, we offer our customers a cutoff which is of the port. So in previous times, customers would have to worry about that if I give my container here, will it get connected on the vessel or not? But giving seamless end-to-end connectivity, we are able to offer them. Not only that, we are further going a step ahead to say that it is not about a ICD, but we go to the factory and the district and say, if you hand over the container to me by this time, we will make sure it reaches and arrives the container terminals in Gujarat, like Mundra, Pipavav, and gets connected. And I must say that with this seamless operation and a lot also to digitization, today we can offer almost 100% reliable connectivity. So that way, I think on the logistics index, on the confidence index, when we go, as logistics industries, we are doing our best to ensure we empower the trade, that when they go out in the market, they can sell with confidence and they don't have to look back and say that, and answer to question, will my box, will my cargo get connected? Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. I think, no proud to preach, but I think the fact that DFC effectively is very closely linked to the logistics policy, national logistics policy, and the stated ambition of the policy to reduce the cost of logistics as a country. I think for Gujarat, it is a game changer, and I think to achieve the vision that is set, really it's going to be a key boost. Now, some of my panel members, as you would have seen, have gone to the next session. So what I'll do is quickly summarize what we've just engaged and contribute probably 2 minutes of my own learnings. What we are seeing currently, and I think all of us will agree, is that at a global level, we are seeing a significant reset in the supply chain. We are effectively looking at changing trade flows. We have this whole concept of friendshoring, nearshoring, etc. And if you look at the export-export data of India, India is clearly leveraging the change in trade flows. If you look at the EXIM data of India over the last 5 years to the US, for example, our exports to the US have grown more than 50%. And if you look at China, so the China plus one shift to a great extent is happening, and India is certainly leveraging and benefiting from that. Why I'm saying that is that attached with the global reset of supply chain and trade flows, we are also trying to make India a manufacturing hub. And along with that, if the maritime sector doesn't kick in and become more efficient, India as a country will not be competitive. Therefore, the need for our EXIM gateways to be far more competitive is now, is imperative for it to become now. And the things like DFC, technology, sustainability are all enablers in that sense. So, and if I keep all that into perspective and the fact that I've worked in Gujarat for so many years, and I have ground feeling and a sense of what potential Gujarat has. The fact that when I talk to investors, there's a clear preference for Gujarat because of there's no labor issue, there's policy environment clarity. So Gujarat has all the enablers, as you said, as Mr. Mehta said, it has everything that it has. It has the vision, it has the policy, it has the entrepreneurship, and it has an extremely vibrant private sector culture. All these ingredients are really a recipe for a fantastic future to essentially achieve the future and the vision that we're talking about. So I think to sum it up, I think the maritime sector in Gujarat can give the right gati and shakti to New India. Thank you very much for all your time, and thank you very much to all my panel members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. And to come to a conclusion to today's event and today's session, I would like to have a presentation of the mementos to our panelists. I'll invite Shri S.K. Mehta ji to please welcome and present a memento to Captain Umesh Abhyankar ji as a token of our love and appreciation. May I invite Shri Rajkumar Beniwal ji to present a memento to Mr. Adhendru Jain. I'll also request Beniwal sir to present a memento to Mr. Mihir Shah, the moderator of this panel discussion. Thank you, sir. Thank you to all the panelists once again. And will we have a group picture, please? I request Shri Kanubai Desai ji, our Honorable Finance Minister, to please join on the dais for a group picture. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to all the panelists. We now come to an end of this session, and we'll have a break. The networking area is open for you. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening ahead.